Now call Lord Winston.
My Lords, let me declare an interest. I'm the chairman of the Genesis Research Trust, a trust which deals with research into women's diseases, in particular with pregnancy problems, with miscarriage, with stillbirth, and with infertility, amongst many other things, including cancers. And I really am grateful to the noble Lord, dare I say the noble person, Lord True, perhaps not. I don't wish to behave in any way disrespectfully, for his really helpful listening to our problems beforehand, which I hope we'll be able to continue before the next stage of this bill going through the House. I rather like the noble Lord Cormac, I have to say that every single one of us in this chamber, every single person outside in the street, every citizen of the United Kingdom was born from a mother's uterus. We forgive the muddled biology that we've heard a little bit earlier in this debate. The fact is, only a woman can give rise to a baby, and the issue of the environment inside the womb is critical to our development until we finally die at the age of 70 or 80, if we're lucky. And I think that's something that is really important. That defines so much of what makes our our humanity. Michael Meany, who's a very great biologist from Canada, showed very clearly in the studies he did there in Toronto and later on, of course, in Singapore, where I've been somewhat associated, he's shown very clearly, as many other scientists have shown, that what happens during pregnancy at various stages affects the development of that baby, including its cognitive ability, its function, and later on, its diseases that it might develop at the ages of 40, 50, or 60. And that is fundamentally important, and that depends on the woman, her health, and the way she is protected. So we're extremely grateful for this bill because, of course, the fact that the Honourable Lady, the Attorney General, has this opportunity, that is terrific. But the problem, of course, is that that doesn't always apply to some women who have stress with their hormones and all sorts of other problems. So let me leave Singapore for a moment and come to domestic matters, because this is critically important. The noble Lord True might like to hear from me that in 2018, 2,943 babies were stillborn. 60% were as a result of an unknown cause. Birth defects were a very minor problem. In many cases, it was poor medicine. Sometimes this was avoidable, but in many cases, of course, the reason for that stillborn is completely unknown. And of course, these women leave hospital absolutely bereft. In fact, many of them do never recover after that loss of a pregnancy. That loss of life within them is critical to that person. If that's not enough, let me remind the House that something close to 200,000 women each year miscarry a pregnancy, and some of them will miscarry several times. I think my own record with a woman miscarrying was a person who miscarried 19 times before she finally gave up being pregnant. And I have to say that one of the commonest things I've heard during my professional career from these women is that they've sat in front of me with tears, having had a miscarriage or a stillbirth, and say to me, "I do not feel that I'm a proper woman." That is a very, very common phrase in my clinic for the last 40 years. If that's not enough either, let me just remind the House that there are some 1 in 20 women who are infertile, who strive hard to become women by being pregnant. That is absolutely a goal which is like none other in their lives. It is the most important thing for them that they can do. This is not some aberrant mentality. This is natural. It's born as a result of our evolution of humans. It's part of our humanity, and it's essential. And most of them, of course, don't achieve this. For example, the figures in Europe show that after 6 cycles of in vitro fertilization, only 43% of those women actually get pregnant. There isn't a treatment for them. We tend to forget that. It's something very important. My Lords, you know, we're rushing this bill through for very particular reasons, and nobody would doubt the need to get this through for the Attorney General. But what message does this show to these women who've lost babies or lost a pregnancy or lost the life within them? For most of them, of course, come from poorer, disadvantaged disadvantaged communities. That is, of course, what actually is true for most diseases which affect us, and it certainly applies to those diseases of pregnancy. And, of course, our record in Europe, for example, with stillbirth, is we have one of the highest stillbirth rates in Europe. We still don't understand why that is. So I want to say, finally, that if the noble lady, Baroness Noakes, decides to press this amendment to a vote, I will join her and vote with her, because I think the regret motion is something which is really important to consider. There is, I think, the noble Lord will see a growing head of steam. I know that he was left carrying the baby in this particular bill. It was not in something that I think he desired or wrote or had anything to do with the drafting. So clearly we understand that very well, but it is still a problem. And why would I want to go through the lobby? I would go through the lobby because I owe it to the hundreds of women who sat in front of me in tears saying, I don't feel a proper woman.